Hi everyone, my name is Jordan, and I eat the powder. Yes, it sounds like a confession, but it really is. I have a sort of chemical addiction, and I found it by accident. Now, I'll tell you how it was. When I was about 6 years old, my mum started doing laundry. We didn't have a washing machine back then. We had a really shitty life. And my mum did the laundry by hand. I always sat next to her at that moment. Not because it was interesting. The smell of washing powder, its colour, texture, and the main thing, smell, attracted me. I was spoiled by it in the literal sense of the word. And my mother thought I was her assistant. Of course, to sit around more, I volunteered to help. So I did my socks and my underwear too. I loved the way the powder dissolved in the warm water and foam appeared. The way the white grains dissolved right in the palm of my hand. When my mother was distracted, I licked this foam, and it seemed to me so delicious. Fragrant. That's what it smelled like, the same as it tasted. A little bit better, truthfully, but it was bearable. I started doing laundry more and more often, and my mum was happy. And then I realised that I just liked the powder, and one night I slipped into the bathroom and pulled out a bag. It said for hand washing with a lavender scent. I had no idea what lavender meant at the time, but it was fucking delicious. I licked it once, licked it twice, and then I caught a kind of buzz. I got a little dizzy, but that effect passed quickly. So, I began to indulge every day, eating a little bit at a time. But after half a year, I got stomach pains and stopped eating this delicacy. Of course, I didn't want to tell anyone about it, especially my mother. But my addiction was only gone for a while. The only person who figured it out was my Aunt Dorothy. She was a former drug addict, so she knew how to keep secrets about weakness. And it happened, of course, out of the blue for me. I was sitting there, licking powder off my hand, and Aunt Dorothy walks in. She was staying with us at the time. I didn't think anybody was awake at all. It was late. She walked into the bathroom and froze when she saw me. "What are you snorting cocaine?" "No." "Too bad." "Auntie." "Come on, I know it's powder, but it's laundry detergent." She closed the door behind her and sat on the toilet. Then she blew her nose in a napkin and looked at me. "Come on, tell me." "Tell you what?" "How long have you been sitting there?" "Are you going to tell Mum and Dad everything?" "Your mum's my sister, but I don't have to tell her." "Thank you. I started a long time ago and then I stopped. And now I've started again and I can't stop." "I know what you mean. Try something lighter." "Like?" "Soap. Try soap. Maybe it'll help. Then in time you'll get out of the habit. In general, give it up. Look at me. I'm 40 years old and I look 60 for a reason." She came out of the bathroom and I stayed there, sat for a couple more minutes, then took the soap and took a bite, but I didn't like it at all. I went to bed. I couldn't sleep at night because the image of my aunt. I wondered what if I became like her? What if everyone found out what I was into? Most of all, I didn't want to upset my mother, so I decided to quit. The next day, I woke up to a noise. I quickly went downstairs and saw a huge box in the house. "Mum, what is it?" "A washing machine. Can you imagine? It turns out that your father decided to give me a present like this. Finally, I will not wash clothes by hand anymore, and you don't have to help me anymore. My raccoon." "Why a raccoon?" "Well, there's raccoon rinsers. They do laundry all the time. You don't have to do that anymore. She's going to do it for us now, my new helper." Mum was so excited, unlike me. But on the other hand, I took it as a good excuse to stop eating powder. The washer was installed. Mum was happily washing things in there. I held on for 4 days until that frantic urge to eat powder came over me again. It was evening. We had just gotten up from the table after dinner. I went to sort of take a shower and I started picking around for powder, but it was nowhere to be found. I turned everything over. I realised I was starting to get mad. I was tossing items in the bathroom back and forth and my mum heard it. Knock, knock, knock. "Son, is everything okay in there? You hear a noise? What's going on?" Yeah, everything's fine, Mum. I was just looking for some powder." I opened the door and my mum saw the mess. She asked why I needed the powder, and I said I wanted to wash the thing. Come on, I'll put it in the wash. No, I have to do it now. Can't wait till tomorrow? No, I need this t-shirt for tomorrow. Okay, no problem. I'll wash it. Give it to me. No, I want to do it by myself. Well, we've got somebody to do the laundry. Come on. I want to do it by myself, I shouted at her. Why are you so angry? Okay, here's the powder. Here's the machine. Do the laundry. And my mother took out the wrong powder from the cabinet. It was liquid. And then I was shocked. I asked my mum where the other powder was in pellets, and my mum said she decided to change the powder because I needed it for hand washing and it was perfect for the machine. I shuddered. I realised I was going through a withdrawal sort of thing. I walked out of the bathroom, throwing my t-shirt on, and locked myself in my room. I didn't know what to do or where to go. I couldn't get to sleep, so I thought of something. In the morning, I got ready early and went to my classmate Peter's house. He didn't live far away and sleepily opened the door. I have to go to the bathroom, I told him, and walked in uninvited. But he didn't have any powder in the bathroom either, so I left him silently and went into school, poking around in the janitor's back room until I was reprimanded. But I didn't find anything there either. Oh, for crying out loud! What, does everybody have washing machines? I yelled to the whole hallway and my teacher came out. By this time, I was visibly shaking. My hands were shaking and my eyes were dark. Jordan, did something happen? Why are you so early? Why do you need detergent? You have laundry detergent? What do you need it for? Do you or don't you? Answer. No, not here. Why? And at home? Yes. What kind? In pellets. That's what we need. Let's go to your house. You're scaring me. Let's call your mum. She reached in her pocket and pulled out her phone, and I was so mad. I was terrified. I ran up to her and I snatched her phone and slammed it against the wall. It shattered into pieces. The teacher was shocked, but I didn't care. All I could think about was the pellets. She yelled like what was going on and everything, and tried to calm me down, but I already knew that she was no help. I ran outside and didn't know what to do. Think, I muttered to myself, and then I was like, right. Joyful with plan B in my head, I ran to the nearest store and quickly made my way to the soap and dishwashing department. There I found the powder I needed, but it turned out to be just huge and cost accordingly more. I didn't have enough money for it, and I was pissed again. The salesman started to strain and ask questions, and I didn't want to answer because I wasn't up to it. I tried to talk him into selling me the powder for his price, but he refused. And then I sniffed and smelled pleasure. Oh yeah, I said to myself, and just tore the bag open with my hands. Even though the bag would have been sturdy, it gave in easily to me. The powder crumbled to the floor, and I began to lick it right off the dirty floor. The salesman yelled for me to stop, and then threatened me with the police, but I couldn't hear him anymore. Goosebumps ran all down my body. My eyes went dark, and then nothing. When I came to, my mother was sitting next to me in tears. My aunt was smoking a cigarette, and somewhere behind me, my father was talking to a policeman. What happened? Mum barely answered that I was an addict, and I was going to be treated. She was sobbing, and my aunt was like, I told you, you'd better eat soap. And then my mother scolded her about why she knew and didn't say anything. How dare you keep quiet? What if he had died? You hid such a fact behind my back. I hate you. I tried to change his mind, but I know it will not work right away, so I decided not to pressurize him. He's my son. He's just a child. You stupid head. I felt bad. An ambulance was called and my stomach was pumped. The procedure was very unpleasant, but it got better. They put me on IVs, gave me injections, and now I was under constant supervision. It was terrible, but there was no other way. Only after what I had gone through did I admit to myself that I had an abnormal addiction and agree to compulsory treatment. All in all, it took me 2 years, and that's what I want to tell you guys. If you notice a strange craving in you that you can't control, you better get help early, before you're embarrassed, before you get put on the registry and the whole school finds out. I'm lucky to be alive at all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maloney. I have a strong complex about my figure, about the fact that I have very small breasts. The expression, flat as a board, is about me. I'm tired of looking like this, so I found a secret to increase it, but I overdid it a little. There are plump girls, average, and then there are such as I, dystrophics. I am not talking about those figures that are taken in as models. They at least have the right height, unlike me. I'll start with the fact that I was born underweight. My mother carried me under her heart for a full 9 months, and I was born a little more than 1.5 kilograms. The doctors were surprised at this, because this was usually how twins or premature babies were born. But there I was. All my childhood, I was ill with everything I could get. Allergies, colds, constipation, anything, and almost every month. My family used to call me weak. My mother assured me that all my illnesses were due to my thinness, and she and my father made me eat. With tears in my eyes, I ate the damn potatoes, flour, and disgusting soups. Mom said it was healthy, and Dad said it was high in calories. Personally, at an early age, everything suited me and my body. I didn't even notice that I was too thin. I thought it was hard to be fat, but not skinny. However, when I grew up, my opinions changed. As I remember now, I came to school one September and saw my classmates. I was stunned by the fact that their breasts had grown over the summer, and 1 to 2 sizes. And why hadn't mine? When my classmates hugged me, it felt like pillows were touching me, and I was afraid to pierce them with myself. That day, I came home upset and in tears. My grandmother didn't understand what was wrong. I told her that the teacher thought I was a kid. All the girls are already wearing bras, and I still wear a t-shirt. I asked her, whimpering at the table. My grandmother just hugged me and said that everything would be fine. They'll grow, don't worry, honey, she said. I enjoyed her support, but I couldn't wait long. That same evening, I went online and started looking at the cost of breast augmentation surgery. Even if I collected my grandmother's pension in 5 years, I still wouldn't have enough. And telling my parents is like running into another scandal. But once, purely by chance, I came across an ad on the internet for breast augmentation with a huge discount. Wow, I thought, this is definitely my chance, and I began to rustle through all my pockets, but not even the entire amount was enough. Then I came up with a brilliant idea. I had a rare collection of coins from my great-grandfather. I was given it for my birthday. I've heard they cost a lot of money. So I took them and sold them. Just this amount will also be enough for me to buy new things with an open neckline, I said to myself. I immediately called this clinic and made an appointment on the appointed day. The night before, I was lying on my bed, looking forward to appearing in class in a beautiful blouse or dress, and everyone would just be stunned by my new bust. I would be the center of attention. I would be eye-catching, proud, happy, and satisfied. I woke up the next morning at 5 a.m. I couldn't wait to go to the clinic. After a quick meal, I packed up and left. Did you sign up for the operation? The clinic asked. I said, yes, with satisfaction. But you are not 18 years old. We cannot accept you. Sorry. The presence of an adult is mandatory, they told me. At that moment, it was as if the earth had fallen from under my feet. How could that be? I was so prepared. I did everything right. Why not? I begged them to accept me, promised not to tell what the clinic had done, but they said that they would face criminal liability, and that would be worse than my tears. They politely dismissed me and said that they would be waiting for me, but only with an adult by my side. I came home dead, all my dreams buried alive. My mother asked what was wrong at home, but I didn't want to tell her. In the evening, Grandma came into my room, and she was looking for the collection of medals. Oh no, I thought. I had to tell her everything, and I was terribly ashamed. Grandmother sat down on the sofa in horror and clutched at her heart. I got scared and ran to her. Oh no, Grandma, please forgive me. I'll fix it. I swear, I'll fix it. I begged and began to kiss her hands. I was crying with shame and fright. Grandma asked me what I needed the money for, and I had to tell her everything. She laughed and told me to eat cabbage. I was surprised. How? Just eat cabbage and that's it? This pleased me more. I didn't need to go under the knife. I didn't need to spend a lot of money. I ran into the kitchen and ate cabbage like a mad woman. My mother was surprised at my appetite. What's wrong? Usually you can't be forced to eat cabbage from under a stick, she said. I just nodded in her direction and continued to eat the leaves. It seemed to me that the more you eat, the faster they will grow. So I only ate cabbage and washed it down with water. On the third day, I began to feel sick, and so sick after a week that I didn't even want to look at it. And every night, I took a measuring tape and measured my bust in front of the mirror. It seems to me they're not growing. I should double my ration, I told myself. My mother did not have time to buy this vegetable, as in an hour it ran out. As the 3rd week went by, I really felt unwell. I was lying on the bed, almost exhausted, and there were stumps all around me. When my mother came into the room, she screamed as if she saw a corpse, although that's about how I looked and felt too. The whole room smelt like cabbage. I was green, and not only was I sick and couldn't get up, I also spoke in a clumsy way. At my mother's cry, my grandmother came running. She was just as shocked by what was happening and told my mother what was wrong. My mother picked me up and took me to the hospital. I don't remember very well, but on the way, she scolded me for not sharing my feelings with her. How did you manage to eat only cabbage for so long? What if I hadn't noticed? What would have happened then? She screamed. At the hospital, they pumped me out, made some IVs, and then said that I should rest. I was discharged in a couple of days. When my mother calmed down, she spoke to me seriously about it. I told her how important it was to me, and my mother made the decision. A month later, we returned the money to the office and took the coins, and then my mother enrolled me in a good clinic with friends, where I still had a breast augmentation. I was so happy. Like I said, everyone at school was just blown away, and my self-confidence doubled. Now I feel much more feminine and beautiful. However, since then, I don't eat cabbage anymore.